finger on the trigger, I ain't never giving up.
The top three here, Hamilton, Vettel, Verstappen, 13 world championships between them. Count them. Ted, down to you. 7 for Hamilton, 4 for Vettel, 2 for Verstappen, 13, that makes 13. Nice one, Ripley, not too shabby.
In a few moments' time, we have the green flag, and in front of a capacity crowd, 5 lights are on. It's lights out, and away we go. Verstappen does get away well.
The top three here, Hamilton, Vettel, Verstappen, 13 world championships between them. Count them. Ted, down to you. 7 for Hamilton, 4 for Vettel, 2 for Verstappen, 13, that makes 13. Nice one, Ripley, not too shabby.
In a few moments' time, we have the green flag, and in front of a capacity crowd, 5 lights are on. It's lights out, away we go.
Hello all and welcome into WHF Tier 1 action. We're here in Canada for round 3, and welcome in one and all. I am WHF Arrow, your host this evening, as we get ready to race around Montreal. And it's a bit of a lower grid this evening, missing 4 drivers. We wish the best to Echo, who I'll not disclose what happened to him, but he's currently, or has been, in the hospital, if he's not currently in the hospital. But we wish Echo all the best and all the best road to recovery for the messed up situation he's dealing with. But anyway, let's move on to the racing. We've got a couple of drivers out there, a couple of debutants. We've got the Coy, Veer and Lex debutants. Lord McJigglebun was with us last season. It's his season debut here in Tier 1 for Alpine. But we'll go on board with Veer, debuting for Cadillac, following Mo from last race in Saudi Arabia, picking up a season ban from being an absolute terrorist. So this time out we've got, hopefully, a new cleaner driver in Veer, the Swedish driver. Along with the debutants of Coy and Lex, and the redacted driver is Nuki, for obviously nuking innocent children. That is why his name is redacted, because you're not allowed to nuke people. That is just not on Nuki, to be honest. But either way, we've got Veer on a flyer, and into the hairpin he goes. And you got to have a big lift off before the hairpin, as we see on board with the Cadillac, to try and regain the battery for the run down to the penultimate chicane. As Fakiri serves his qualifying ban after blocking Trixie last time out. And Veer with a 10.3. That is the time to beat, as Lex does a 9.6. Lex is the next driver to beat, and a strong lap from the debutantes. Who else do we have out there on a run? Thori does an 11.5. Rio Harris out on wet tyres. And Rio with a class 1:15.7. As Gordon does a 10.5. We've got Mallard up to the line shortly. As Mallard does a 10.8, just 3/10 of JG. Cookie out on the medium tyres as Coy on debut goes to P2 with the 10.2.6 4. As who else is on a push lap? Ty on a push. Codzilla on a push. Let's see where Lord is. He's invalid, so stay with Codzilla as he races down the back straight. And where can Codzilla stick his car? Diggs in the chat says that half the grid is tier 2, and yeah, pretty much is. Half the grid is tier 2, virtually, as Codzilla goes to P8. With a lot of drivers missing out today, a lot of people on holiday, and there's not a lot you can do about that, unfortunately. But we'll see Cookie's involved. He's going to go for a lap on the mediums. Ty on a run down the back straight. May get a long tow from what I believe is an Audi ahead, about to start a lap. Although Ty invalid through the final chicane, that's going to hurt him on his run as Nuki about to start a lap. As Lord McJigglebun may be the next driver around on a lap. And what can the Alpine driver do on his run? As the Alpine now down the back straight, he's going to go, and all of the battery deployed down to the final chicane. As currently TJ in P3 in the mix, but where can Lord McJigglebun set his lap as Lex goes even quicker with a 9.4 as Codzilla retires from the session. McJigglebun into P6, just 2/10 off Gordon, as Cookie about to set a lap here, I believe, although there's a Cadillac right up behind Cookie on a run, although Cookie I think was invalid, as I believe it may have been Thory finishing a lap there with 11.089. Either way, we've got Alex out there, Ty just starting a lap, Nuki finishing a lap, or he might have been invalid and going for another push, as Ollie being halfway through the lap, Ty just starting, so we'll stick with Ollie. As in the wall has gone an Alpine. It's Lord McJigglebun in the wall, and he's got to rejoin safely here, out of the way of everyone else. But Lord McJigglebun spins after completing his lap. Anywho, we've got Alex, one of the competitors for pole today, along with Lix and Cookie, as Alex crunches the wall at the final corner. But can Alex still snatch it at the line? No, it's only a 10-1 for Alex. Still a big margin to Lix for Red Bull. Cookie does a 9.8 on the medium tyres. As who else do we have out there on a run? Ty rounding the final corner. Where can the Haas driver go as he charges to the line? And Ty up to P8 with a 10.730. As it's a decent lap there from Ty Veer on a lap. As Alex on an in, it seems. Ollie's going to have to go again. Rio on a push. We'll stick with Rio on this lap. Let's see where Rio can go in Canada. As things stand, Rio has one valid lap, but it was on the wet tyres. Well, let's see what he can do on the softs as he now rounds the hairpin. Foot to the floor, going to burn the battery down the back straight. And where can Rio stick this Ferrari? Reserving for the first time this season is Rio Harris. As he crunches the wall, gets a little bit of a tow from the Williams ahead, who may have distracted him a little bit on his run to the line, and actually invalidated with that final chicane run. So Rio is going to have to go again. But not quite sure who's on a lap. Nuki might be finally finishing a lap as Nuki to the line. Does a 12.4. And Nuki in the Mercedes makes his way across the line as Alex still out there and seems to be still pushing as Coy goes P3. Or goes P4, my mistake, as with a 10, 2, 6, 4. But who else do we have out here on a run? Alex appears to be improving again. 3/10 the good on these older soft tyres. And can he keep it nice and neat through the final chicane? Brushes the wall one more time. But to the line, Alex goes and up to P2 with a 9.760. But Licks still is holding on to the provisional pole position. As Gordon heads through Sector 1. And the McLaren driver will definitely want to get a good run here, as I'll open the results sheet just to make sure that we've got the results recorded correctly. As Gordon now down into the long hairpin. And this is the way to drive the new cars, is you really gotta lift heavy into that hairpin before you boot the throttle and burn the battery down to the final chicane. But you want to save a little bit of battery for the run out of the final corner. And Gordon has done just that, as they'll burn the rest of it down across the line. And across the line he goes and improves by a 10th, although stays P7 as McJigglebun into the final chicane. Invalid again one more time is Lord McJigglebun. Frustratingly so. Meanwhile, Dubsy and Ollie and Rio realistically yet to get a representative lap time on the board. Dub invalid out of the final chicane, so we'll have to have another attempt. Licks on a flyer. Cookies halfway round on a lap as Licks. Oh my word, what an undergod was that? Lost the rear massively through the final chicane, but he's kept it tidy and has improved by half a 10th. It almost seemed like Licks almost ended up in the Wall of Champions as TJ goes to P4. And we'll stick with Cookie. He's currently half a second to the good. And he's got a new challenger joining the field in Licks. And can Cookie do enough to keep Licks at bay as Cookie into the final chicane. Keeps it neat and tidy. And now to the line, Cookie's going to go. And what's it going to be? It's a 9-0, almost 8/10 improvement from his run on mediums. And Cookie absolutely blowing the rest of the drivers out of the water. But can Licks do anything to improve? We did see Licks make a massive mistake into the final chicane. Whether or not that was intentional or not, I'm not quite sure. But hopefully Licks can get in, get another set of tyres on, and maybe we know he has extra time to get there out of that final chicane as Diggs is cheering on. As Diggs is cheering on Ferrari as Cookie sits on pole. As Ollie currently on a flyer, although he's invalid, so Ollie will need to go again. Ansu needing to go again. Mallard has got damage on his McLaren, so maybe a mistake from Mallard, but can't blame him. It is one of the trickier tracks on the grid. Canada is an absolute nightmare of a track, especially for me, as Licks somewhat evens with his delta at the moment. We'll keep an eye on that as Coy starting a lap tie, not improving. We'll stay with the Alpine of Lord McJigglebun to see how he can get on. And the Alpine heading into the final chicane. He's been involved a couple of times here, but he's kept it neat and tidy on this attempt. And Lord now up to P6. Massive lap there for the Alpine reserve. Goes 5 thousandths ahead of Veer, the Cadillac debutant. Oh, massive crunch of the Wall of Champions. Went Licks this time. He went even further into the wall as Cookie invalid again. I can't even quite tell if people are boxing on the tyres. Cookie and Licks have gone on those tyres a couple extra laps. As big crunch of the wall there from Lix, trying to get every bit of time he could, as Nuki finally will get a good lap time in as he crosses the line, goes to P12 and goes 2 tenths ahead of his teammate for this evening of Ansu. Both Mercedes drivers missing, unfortunately. TJ and GVKP, as Rio on a flyer, and Rio needs to set a good lap time here. Rio definitely has top 5 pace. Whether or not he can actually put a lap on the board is a different question. He's been invalid on many attempts so far, and hopefully for Rio's case he can keep it valid through the final chicane. Otherwise he's going to have to do a lot of charging through the field to try and gain some positions, which in Canada isn't the easiest track to do it in. But into the final chicane we go. Rio heavy into the final chicane, and he breaks the front wing on the wall, and that might be Rio done for today. 3 minutes left in the session, and Rio into the wall, and no valid lap time for the Ferrari driver. Dub and Ollie potentially have the same risk, you know what I mean? Potentially have that to worry about. But Rio might have to fight his way through the field. Meanwhile, Nuki going for another push lap. We'll have a look at what tyres he's on. But we'll keep an eye on Dubsy here, who hopefully is going to set a valid lap. No, he is charging again. I think he'll get a lap time on the board on this run as long as he doesn't validate through the final chicane. But whether or not Dub can actually improve on this time, we'll wait and see. But we've got Alex ahead of him, who's going to be trying to fight for pole here. I don't believe he's pushing. Sounded a bit like he was in a... Oh, what the fuck? I think I've been kicked from the lobby. Yep, I got kicked from the lobby. What the hell is going on with this game? Anywho, as we wait to load back in again, it was Cookie on pole, 3 tenths ahead of Lix, with Alex 7 tenths behind. I don't know if we're going to be in time to catch the end of Alex's lap. We might catch the end of Cookie or Lix's lap, if it let us. As Cookie seems to be backing out. Lix has bended in the middle sector and has taken out Alex, and then the McLaren hits Lix, and Lix gets a 5-place grid penalty for causing contact with Gordon as he was on his lap. Cookie doesn't improve, neither does Lix, neither does Alex. TJ to the line, can he get any positions? He does improve, just not by enough to get Alex. Who else is going to be close to the line? As Dub, I think, is going to be the next driver around. Ansu will stay P14, Thori P12, Ollie P10, Rio P15, Codzilla P15, or Rio P16. As Dub now into the final corner. And he's kept this one valid, so hopefully Dub can get a good lap time on the board finally. And Dub to the line, where's he going to go? Bo's P14 ahead of Ansu. As Mallard charging down the back straight, tie clear. Rounds the final corner as Alex retires. And to the line, Ty does not improve. What happened there? Veer up to the line as I think Cookie crossed the line there. Veer does improve to P6. Lord McJigglebun stays P7. Coy not improving. Lex definitely not improving. Gordon has got damage, so he's not improving as Lex bending it into the wall. Not quite sure what he's doing. He's intentionally bending it into the wall. Interesting. As Gordon on and in. And hopefully the fact I got booted out doesn't destroy the lobby, but it might. Who knows? But there you have it. Cookie on pole ahead of Lex, Alex, TJ, Coy, Veer, McJigglebun, Gordon, Tyclear, Ollie, Mallard, Thori, Nuki, Dub Z, Ansu, Godzilla, Rio, and Fakiri. As there you have your order. Although, couple of mishaps. Rio bottled qualifying. As thank you for the subscription, Thori. And Fakiri had a qualifying ban to serve, but more importantly, Lex getting a 5-place grid penalty, which has cost him massively in this one. And gonna make the race a little bit harder for the Red Bull Reserve this evening. But I will ping the drivers when they're ready up. Hopefully no one ready is up early. And hopefully Rio says went out of AI because I was fixing something and gave me damage before my laps. Well, maybe don't be an AI, I don't know. Anywho, we will have 35 laps in the Montreal circuit here in Canada. And who will win? And we've been joined by Lanky, our co-host for this evening, and I just need to get him into the lobby if possible. Lanky, you on yet?
Yeah, I should be showing on now.
Let's try and refresh. Yeah. So hopefully you should get in time before the start. 2 minutes to join, so hopefully it should be enough. When you join, Lanky, remember to press triangle to spectate, so that doesn't accidentally give you a car. Because that has happened where multiple times in the past we've had to commentate lap 1 from the back of the field. So hopefully we can avoid doing that. But anyway, welcome in, Lanky. You've missed qualifying. It was a bit of a hectic qualifying. Cookie on pole ahead of Lex, but Lex picks up a 5-place grid penalty for spinning in Sector 1, and his car being stricken across the track had contact with Gordon's McLaren, as well as Alex got contact with Lex as well in the midfield. So I'm sure might be a further penalty to Lex, but I guess we'll wait and see. As everyone, get your predictions in the chat. Who do you think is going to win this one? Cookie on pole ahead of Alex, as Lex is dealing with his grid penalty. And P3 should be TJ in the Audi, so TJ's had a decent start to the season and got a podium last time out. And
the weather's looking a little bit dull as well, so I wonder if we're going to see any rain.
Yeah, looking a bit overcast. I've not seen anyone mention rain in the chat as of yet. Normally that we would have mentioned it by now. But I don't believe there's going to be rain on the way. But if there is, it'll be a nice surprise. But 18 drivers here this evening, and a couple of key names missing, like the likes of Trixie, who won last time out, and Nis as well, who is always one of the favourites to win. But as things stand, it'll be Cookie and Alex starting on the front row of the grid. Lex, who had a decent debut qualifying, unfortunately starting down the order after qualifying. And also we've got Rio Harris and Fakiri starting at the back of the grid after Fakiri's qualifying ban and Rio Harris's skill issue in qualifying. But we'll move on. The driver should be readying up now, and hopefully it'll get underway smoothly, as we will have the 5 red lights on here in Canada. And they're out, and away we go as Cookie will lead us down into turn 1. Alex on the outside is going to try and stick it around the outside of the Ferrari driver. The Ferrari breaks later into turn 1. Will keep it ahead of the Williams as Cookie leads through turn 1 as Coy up into P3. In the background, we've got an Alpine and a Red Bull go side by side. Lord McJigglebun and Lex Gordon watching this in behind. Lex gets through as Gordon going to try and capitalise on McJigglebun in behind.
Got Mercedes and the Cadillac in the wall.
Oh, and an Ollie sends it on the inside of Gordon. Side by side goes the McLaren and the Alpine. Tie on the back of this battle as Ollie and Gordon into the wall. Ollie moves over. Oh, and Ollie clips the rear of Ty as well, and a VSC is out. And I don't know what Ollie was doing there, but Ollie and JG, massive contact. VSC is out, as you mentioned. Veer and Ansu into the wall early on here, but massive contact there in lap 1. Rio Harris up multiple positions, along with Fakiri as well from the back, but major contact. Ollie and Gordon are going to be into the pit lane for sure with air damage. Ty, an unfortunate just victim in the next corner. Ollie went deep, but Ollie will be into the pit lane, I would assume, along with Gordon under this VSC. And who else is going to be into the pit lane? Fakiri in as well. He's got damage. I wonder, does Ansu and Veer have damage as well? As we've gone green flag, and Veer is back racing again as Alex was right on the rear of Cookie as we've restarted here. And Cookie defending into the middle sector. Alex being patient in behind Cookie as Coy joined this battle as well, along with TJ and Lex, as Alex just biding his time as things stand. But 4 drivers into the pit lane after lap 1, and Alex in behind Cookie. But what a crazy start was that was, Lanky.
Yeah, very. So I think it was the Cadillac of Veery. He's spun, and I think he just caught Ansu with him at the back, towards the back of the field, out of turn 2. I'm surprised that Ansu hasn't stopped. He's got quite heavy left wing damage, and he didn't go in the pit lane. Oh, he's got damage on both sides.
Yeah, and meanwhile we've got Rio Harris ahead of Nuki, and Rio up to P9 already after starting P17. So Rio cutting his way through. And meanwhile we've got Ty and Lord McJigglebun into turn 1. Ty dives it and gets on the inside. Lord round the outside, going to try and stick a wheel in, but loses grip on the outside. And Ty and Lex in the background has spun. And please rejoin safely. I don't know how safe that was. He's got a 10-second penalty for a collision with Thori as Lex has spun here on as Lord back through on Ty as they go side by side, but Lex spins around and down the order he goes as Ty loses out to Lord McJigglebun. Cookie's now gapped Alex in behind, already a 1.4 gap. That seemed to have appeared out of nowhere as Lex down the order with a 10-second penalty after contact with Thori. As we've got
shaping one up to the hairpin.
Yeah,
No, we
Mallard.
can't quite get it done this time.
Mallard gets through on Nuki as well, as in behind Dubsy going a little bit deep. Dubsy starting on the hard tyres. In behind will try and get the run on the Mercedes of Nuki. And up ahead, Coy still following along as Ty putting pressure on the Alpine. Thori joining this battle, and Rio up to P8 already. As Race Control says 3-second time penalty, but to who? Who knows? As Rio down the inside of Thorian up to P7, and Rio already 10 places gained in 4 laps as Lix gets ahead of Dub Z as he looks to recover following his spin. And now down the inside of Nuki is Lex going to go for this move. Risky place to be going through the move, and Nuki leaves him the space and gets through as Dub Z round the outside of Nuki as well. And Dub going to dive it on through into P11, and Nuki loses 2 spots in quick succession as veers out at the Wall of Champions as it's a full course safety car. Ansu will get to catch up the pack as, oh my lord, Ansu just sees Veer's car disappear in front of him. And that full course safety is going to save a lot of drivers, but also it's helped a lot of drivers as well who had fallen out of the pack. You got to look at from everyone behind Ollie Bean and down. They're 20 seconds behind the field. So this is going to help bunch up the field again. Cookie's going to be a bit annoyed. And Cookie's going to drive through.
He's going for an early one. Oh, his drive through. I didn't see that.
Cookie's got a drive through. And that is the issue with Canada, is if you are under the delta as you enter the pit lane during a VSC or a safety car, it just gives you a drive through. And that's how it's been for a couple of games. And unfortunately, Cookie's gone under the delta. And Cookie exits in P4, but he's gonna have to box again, unfortunately, as Coy exits ahead of Codzilla. Got a lot of drivers into the box. I wonder, is anyone going to be one stopping for here? Are we going to get any 2 stops? We've got a couple of drivers in the background who we see the lovely front wing glitch where Ollie and Gordon and Ansu don't have front... Well, they've got front wing, but they don't have a front nose on, so their front wing's just floating in the air with no front nose. So great to see EA have not removed that glitch. But maybe in... maybe next game all these glitches will be gone, as Cookie actually says he was green on the delta in the game, give him a drive-through anyway. So I think Cookie's been absolutely stiffed by a drive-through, and now Cookie's going to do a monster recovery drive following when the safety car goes in. Cookie's going to have to essentially serve the drive-through as soon as possible and catch up to the field again, which is going to be no easy task. He's going to cut his way through, which in Canada is very difficult. 3 long straights makes it difficult to manage the battery. As Codzilla into the box, and he's going to go for hard tyres, I believe.
Yeah, it's going to be a lengthy stint if anybody's going to try take it from now to the end.
Yep, 30 laps is definitely not easy. As Lix leaves the track at the final corner, Lix is just struggling even under safety car conditions. Lix is having a bit of a nightmare today. As Ollie picks up a 3-second time penalty under safety car conditions. You do not want to be doing that for damn sure. As if you look at the penalties, it's Nuki, Ollie and Gordon with 3 seconds. Veers left the lobby, so we'll try and get him back in again.
Veer's the one that retired, isn't he?
Oh, never mind. My mistake. I was that locked in, I forgot about him DNFing it to cause the safety car in the first place. But what was I about to say? I forgot where I was in my thought. Anywho, here on lap 6, I doubt the safety car will be in this lap because Ansu still needs to get caught up to the pack, but I think I was talking about Lix, who's down in P15, and he's had a nightmare evening, to be honest. P2 in qualifying, but picked up a grid penalty after contact with Gordon, and now he's down in P15 following this first safety car, but hopefully Lix now can recompose. But he has been very eager on the throttle and keeps spinning, so hopefully Lix can recompose and fight his way back through the pack again.
Yeah, there's a couple of corners that can catch you up, catch you out if you're too eager on that throttle around here, isn't there? Got the end of sector 1 coming out onto the mini straight into sector 2. And then that hairpin, you've got to be really careful with that hairpin, especially as your tyres get older.
Yeah, I think we've seen Lex Bennett at the exit of Sector 2. He spun as Ansu back into the pit lane, this time for medium tyres. They definitely won't go to the end, so Ansu just wants to have a fresh set on. But now, will the safety car go at an extra lap? Will Ansu get caught up in time? It's going to be a bit of a push. This might have been a mistake from Ansu if it does go in this lap and he can't get caught up. But we'll wait and see. He's 30 seconds behind. I think if he really gives it the beans, he can get caught up. The safety car is in this lap, so Ansu's really going to have to rally this Mercedes around to catch. I hope he can get caught up for his sake. But and Ollie and Gordon accidentally swapping under the safety car. As Alex is going to get us restart here. Cookie down in P4 has boxed, but has a drive-through to serve. So we'll have to wait and see when Cookie serves this drive-through. Will he serve it immediately? We'll have to wait and see. But Alex is going to get us restart here. We'll follow TJ, who's going to watch the Williams get us underway as Alex now drops it out of the final corner. And Alex has kept everyone at bay, as there's no moves into turn 1 as of yet. And we'll look down the order. Ollie on the outside of Codzilla. Side by side they go. Ollie, a little bit of contact with Codzilla, sends him wide. Gordon through on the inside. Licks through as well. Codzilla down to P16 as through the midfield. We seem to have all kept it relatively cleanly. As Rio.
Good restart from most.
Yeah, Rio on the inside of Ty. Licks through on Gordon round the outside. As Rio putting the pressure on Ty. Clear. Dub Z on the inside of Thori. He's got this lovely helicopter shot, but Dub going to back out. Doesn't want to go for a risky move on Thori. And Dub now gets the run on Thori. Thori makes a by exit out of the chicane as Cookie gets ahead of Lord McJigglebun. And Dubsy right on the rear of Thori round the outside, was just more avoiding, and in off the track goes Cookie and Lord McJigglebun. Cookie and Lord have contact at the hairpin, and off the track they go. Cookie now down to P10, and if I were Cookie, I'd be serving the drive-through right now, and he is going to. You don't really want to be dealing with other cars while you have a drive-through. You're just going to want to get some clear air to get caught up again. And Coy into the rear of Mallard. Massive contact there as Coy punts Mallard out of the way. And Rio now going to try and defend against Ty. Clear as Ty trying to look for a move in the Ferrari. In the background, we got moves left, right and centre as Lex getting through on Ollie as well. Lex now looking through on Nuki as well, as he looks a little bit down the inside, but no move there. As Rio now on the rear of the Aston Martin, but the Aston with a big shunt to the rear of Mallard. Does he have any damage? Meanwhile, the race lead is between Alex Mills and TJ. And I don't think any of us were going to think that that was going to be the battle for the lead before this weekend started, but that is the battle for the lead currently, as Cookie down the order. Nuki gets ahead of Mallard, as Lex in behind going to try and work his way past Mallard as well. Mallard yet to box here, so struggling enough to start. Lex picks the outside, and the Red Bull gets through as Rio through on Coy into the chicane, and that may open the door for Ty in behind. Ty up in P5. We've never seen Ty so high as Ty round the outside of Coy into turn 1. A little bit of contact with the Aston Martin as Ty round the outside, and a lovely move from Ty up into P4. And what a race Ty is having. One of his best races in WHF. Ty is thinking about the podium here. What a race Ty is having, as Dub Z in behind in P7 as well. Dub, a tier 2 driver, absolutely flying out there. But what a race this has been so far, Lanky.
Yeah, it's been a very action-filled opening 10 laps, to say the least. And my team, that I'm driving for at the minute, Haas, they're both in the points, so they'll be happy with that one. I know Ty has been saying he's struggled a little bit in the first couple of races, but he's definitely making up for it so far.
As Gordon down the inside of Lord McJigglebun, and at the hairpin, we've seen Lord McJigglebun have contact with Cookie earlier on, and this time They both keep it clean. Not quite sure whether Cookie or Lord were at fault for that contact. Meanwhile, Gordon tries to get through on Lord. And Lord going to defend this position as Coy picks up a 3-second time penalty as he looks to stick with Ty clear. As Gordon going to look for the move on Lord McJigglebone again, and Lord defending once again. As Gordon down the inside, that's a late send from the McLaren driver. Can he find the grip on the outside? Gordon tries to stick it, and yes he does. Massive move from Gordon there. And catches Lord napping with a very late braking move. As Mallard into the box for the hard tyres. He may be one of the drivers that's definitely looking to go to the end. As Rio actually hit a TJ. What's happened, TJ? TJ's dropped back from Alex.
And Rio went deep.
And Rio's gone deep. That's allowed TJ back ahead. As TJ going to filter in behind Rio Harris. As Ty watching this battle. He wants to get involved. As Ty looking for the exit on TJ if he can. TJ and Alex yet to box here, so Rio is actually in a net race lead after starting from P17.
Yeah, really good start for Rio. Just kept himself out of anything that's been going on track and just worked his way through.
As Dubsy and Thory battle into the final chicane. Dub now back on the inside of the Cadillac driver, but the Cadillac going to hold position here. As in the background we've got Ollie and Nuki side by side, and Ollie gets ahead and into P9 goes Ollie. As we look further up the field, Ty right on the rear of TJ. As TJ struggling on these older mediums, and Ty looking very punchy. If Ty got a podium, it would be his best result in WHF. As Lord picking up a 3-second time penalty, and Ty, you can see how much more grip he has on these hard tyres than TJ has. TJ struggling on these mediums. He's made a big error to drop 2 seconds back from Alex. As Ty putting all the pressure on TJ now. As Ollie picking up another 3-second time penalty, and Ollie going to try and see how many penalties he can pick up before the end of this race. As Ty on the inside of the hairpin, can he get the exit on TJ and find his way ahead? As Fakiri battling with Lord McJigglebone, and Lord keeping ahead as Fakiri trying to get the exit. As in the background, Coy now down the inside of Ty clear. And Coy in the Aston Martin gets ahead as TJ comes in. And a little bit of contact between Ty and Coy. But an interesting battle here. As Ty back down the inside of Coy. Side by side they go. And Coy keeps it ahead as Lex now has joined this battle. He's recovered from his earlier spin. And Lex now back up into P5 as he looks to join this battle for the podium. But Ty is absolutely flying out there. This is the best we've ever seen Ty perform in a race. Meanwhile, Cookie in the background now. Down behind Lord McJigglebone, going to make the move. And Lord McJigglebone moving in the braking zone. Hits him as we were going into the braking zone. He just turned in on him. That was very strange. But Cookie now into P12. And that was a very strange move from Lord McJigglebone, I must say. As Fakiri now on the rear of Gordon. As Gordon may look for a move on Nuki, but just too far back. As Nuki going to defend into the hairpin now. But has gone deep, and Gordon gets the exit now. Fakiri may even try and find his way through on Nuki as well. As Fakiri on the outside of Nuki getting ahead. Cookie going to get ahead. Alex into the box now, but Alex will be able to comfortably take those tyres to the end. Meanwhile, everyone else may have to think about boxing again. So we'll certainly keep an eye on this battle. Everyone may have to think about...
It's going to be really interesting come the end.
Definitely the likes of Rio Harris. He maybe will take them to the end, or he may have to box again, but Alex now down in P15 and exits ahead of TJ. But Alex's hards will definitely go to the end. Will Rio be able to stretch his hards? That is the question as Ansu picks up a penalty. Dubsy on the rear of Thory, trying to make a move here as Fakiri right on the rear of Gordon. Makes a little error on the exit, and Cookie capitalises on the error. And Cookie now down the inside of Fakiri. And Cookie
making
now...
his way back through the pack quite quicker than I thought he was going to so far, Cookie.
Yeah, into P9 and sees Gordon now on the horizon. As Gordon locking the rears through the hairpin. And Cookie may get the exit here as he moves left. As the McLaren could do all he could to defend against the Ferrari, but nothing doing there as Fakiri charging into the chicane, but lifts off early. Meanwhile, Lix and Ty swap now. Lix through on Ty down to P4. As Lix having a good recovery drive on debut here as Fakiri touches the grass as he tries to find his way through on Gordon. And Gordon and Fakiri here both on the same level of tyres as Alex getting through on Lord McJigglebone as Lord McJigglebone goes wide. Ansu bumps the rear of Alex as Codzilla looks to get through here as well. And a lot of drama in the midfield as Cookie getting ahead of Ollie here. We've seen, I think it might have been Fakiri ahead of Gordon there as well at the same corner. As Gordon going to look back on the rear of Fakiri. When are these two going to box? So that's the question. They may have another set of mediums to use. Meanwhile, Cookie immediately down the inside of Dub Z, and he is absolutely flying up in P6 now. If you look at the gap to the leader, it is now 8 seconds from Cookie to Rio. And will either of them box before the end here? That is the question. Or will they stay out on the hards to the end? As Cookie now going to look to charge on Thori. As the yellow flag's out. And a big contact there. Lix and Koi off as they battle for the podium. And Cookie has found himself up in to P4 as Lix now down to P4. But Koi and Lix, massive contact from them at turn 1. Did you see what happened there, Lanky?
Yeah, I only caught the end of it as they went off track. I didn't see how they ended up going off track. I just caught them as they went onto the grass.
Yeah, not quite sure what happened there. Lix has been in the wars already. Cookie, that's done him a massive service by clearing a lot of the traffic out of his way. Ty now up in a comfortable P2, and Ty loving life. This is his greatest race in WHF for sure. And if Ty can nail a podium here for Haas, it'll be massive for their overall Constructors' Championship bid. Meanwhile, Ferrari in a brilliant spot with Rio P1 and Cookie P3. Meanwhile, Alex up in P11 after getting ahead of Nuki. But Alex, he is the leader out of the drivers who've done their final pit stop. Unless we're going to see some drivers extend a lot longer. As Koi now on the rear of Ollie. Ollie defending down into turn 1. And Ollie keeping it ahead of Koi, but Koi having a decent debut, but that big contact with Lix, we'll see what happens after, with the stewards, whether or not that gets reported. As Dub on the rear of Thori, putting some pressure on the Tier 1 driver. Dub reserving for Haas from Tier 2, as down the inside goes Dub. A brave move as he looks for the switch back on Thori. Touches the grass though ever so slightly, and that costs Dub the run down to the chicane of 8 and 9. As Thori going to keep ahead now. Cookie already on the rear of Ty in a matter of no time. As it's now a 6-second gap as Ty has actually picked up a 3-second time penalty. A lot of drivers there out with penalties. Cookie, Rio, Fakiri and Alex, the only to avoid them so far.
Yeah, one of them tracks is notorious for it, isn't it? Quite a few places it's easy to just cut the corner a little bit too much or even run out wide.
Yeah, and Fakiri gets ahead of Koi. Ollie ahead of Dub as Cookie ahead of Ty into turn 1. And Cookie was waiting behind to get the overtake mode for the next lap to help him push as TJ battling with Nuki into turn 1. Little bit of wheel banging as TJ going to get through on Nuki. As Alex on the outside of Koi and putting a lot of pressure on the Aston Martin. But the Williams can't find a way through, and this traffic is going to cost him massively as we see Ollie and Dub go side by side. A little bit of contact between Ollie and Dub there. As Fakiri going to look on the back of this battle. Alex wants to get involved but has so much traffic ahead of him. Can't really find a way through as Fakiri ahead of Ollie. And Koi wants to get involved here. Alex almost pushing Koi through the corner. And Alex, who's on the best tyres here, just can't find a way through all the traffic. Is he going to try and sneak it up the outside of the hairpin? Going to look for the switchback. As going to plant the throttle. Alex almost loses the rear out of the hairpin there. Massive error from Alex. as Coy now back on the rear. And Fakiri back ahead of Dubsy, but no real moves going. Here's Alex punts the rear of the Aston Martin of Coy and into the wall, and out of the race goes Coy, and Gordon's just about survived, but it's a VSC, and that has ruined a couple of drivers' races. Coy out of the race after massive contact with Alex, and it is a full safety car, and that's going to massively help the Ferraris.
Yeah. Anybody who stopped early should use this opportunity, I think. Depending on how their wear is, obviously we can't see that part.
Well, for me, it's a guaranteed box for everyone inside the top 8. Alex might stay out, but if I were him, I'd probably box. He hit the rear of Coy, and it might potentially have handed him some damage. There might be some reports after this race. I'm sure the stewards are going to be very busy. A lot of contact in this race. Coy punted off by Alex there, and that may see the stewards after this one. But after the safety car, how's this one going to pan out, Lanky?
Yeah, it's, obviously everybody being bunched back up now, and the way it's been so far, I think, especially that mid-pack area, there's going to be a lot of shuffling to go on. They've already been battling quite hard for the majority of the race, and then the Ferraris, if they can both be P1 and 2 out of the safety car, then they can sort of control it if they work together from that point on. So for the Ferraris, it's looking really good.
Cookie's gone onto the sauce.
Ooh.
I don't know how I feel about that.
15 laps on the soft.
That's going to be a brave stint. If he had a set of mediums, that would be good. Or if he had a set of hards, like we've seen with Rio Harris. I'm sure Cookie's going to be very quick under this restart, but will he be able to manage the softs to the end? Will I have to box again? This is going to be a bit of a debate, but Rio, who started P17, need I remind you, is in a great spot here to win his first race of the season. Meanwhile, Ty Clear in the Haas as well. He's in a great spot to bag a podium for Haas if he can. Alex on the more worn hard tyres. Can he hold on to P2? And Lix, who's been in the wars, going to look to recover here. And up to P5 he goes. Fakiri yet to get a penalty along with the top 3. So Fakiri in a very good spot. And he's in P7 after starting from the back of the field. So he is going to have a good opportunity to get some positions here. But
yeah, and with all the penalties as well, that's going to be interesting how it alters the grid at the end of the race, because a couple people already now on a 6.
Yeah, it's
so yeah, it's going to be definitely be a bit of shuffling.
That's definitely the thing with Canada. If you can avoid track limits, it helps you so much. This is a track for track limits. You don't want to really have to deal with them. They are they always cost you in the end. There's so many drivers pick up track limit penalties, and if you're able to keep your nose clean, you almost always benefit from it. And I'm sure we'll see the likes of Fakiri and the top 3 benefit from avoiding penalties as of right now.
Alex hasn't stopped, so he is on a fair few laps older hards. I wonder if that is going to jump up and bite him towards the later stages. Yep,
for sure. I'm just kind of interested to see, as the safety car will be in this lap, just kind of interested to see how Cookie will handle those soft tyres. I don't have any doubt that he could potentially get through Alex and Rio and maybe make a gap, but 1, can he manage the sauce to the end, or 2, can he build a gap enough to box again? That's what I'm doubtful of. I don't think he can. And I mean, Cookie is one of our quickest drivers, definitely the quickest SSR and WHF driver of all time, but Is he quick enough to pull a gap to the likes of Rio Harris, who's no slouch at all? And leading here as Alex right up the rear.
Really
Alex,
big
swapper on for Alex's Cookie now. Right on the rear of Alex as we head down to turn 1. TJ picks up a 3-second time penalty on the restart. That's not ideal for the Audi drivers. TJ down in P11 as Cookie right through on Alex. Out of turn 2 already. Found so much grip immediately. And Cookie now sees Rio Harris next on the agenda. And Cookie may look for a move through this first chicane as Rio goes defensive. Cookie now going to look for the switchback. Can he find it through? Yes, he is. And on these soft tyres, just so much grip. And Cookie gets so clear. And Rio can do nothing to defend against that. The softs are just so much more grip. And Cookie's going to disappear down the road. The question is, by how far? That is the question. If Rio Harris, all he needs to worry about is sticking where he is on the track. He needs to maintain this track position because Cookie might not be able to manage those softs to the end. It's going to be a massive stint if he does. As Mallard getting through on Lord McJigglebon down the midfield, but this seems to be a cleaner restart. No one else has really had to deal with too much drama. As Fakiri on the inside of Thorian. Fakiri now up into P6 as he gets through on the Cadillac driver. The Alpine of Ollie looking for a way through. And Ollie down the inside of Thori. Side by side we go here. A little bit of wheel banging as Ollie on the outside of Thori. And can he stick it? Ollie looks to have it, and Thori just behind. Can't hold on to the position. Meanwhile, in the background, we got Codzilla through on Nuki. As Lix now on the inside of Ty, and a little bit of wheel bang in between Ty and Lix there. As Ty going to stay ahead. Cookie's got a 2-second gap already, but he realistically needs to build about a 20-second gap and box for another set of softs, or just manage these softs to the end. Will they go to the end is the question. Meanwhile, Rio, all he's got to do is keep Alex behind. And he should have at least P2, if not P1, depending on how Cookie's race pans out. As Dub through on Thori, and Dub having a beautiful race here. The Canadian driver in his home Grand Prix moves up to Tier 1, and what a drive he is having. As, Lix contact with someone, and Lix off the track. What has happened, Lix? As Fakiri going to look to try and get through on Lix, but the yellow flag out preventing that potentially from happening. But Lix maybe contact with Ty or someone, as Lix has just had so much drama so far this race. As Gordon gets through on Lord McJigglebon, and Gordon into P15 as he looks to try and recover. But as we progress, Rio doing well as Alex looking to hold on these older hard tyres, and Alex is doing well to hold on to Rio as things stand. But Ty, what a drive he's having. I'm in awe of how well Ty's been this race. Hopefully Ty can hold on to his position as more battling in the background. Lord going to get through on Gordon, as Gordon going to get round the outside of Lord. Mallard 3-second time penalty at the chicane of 8 and 9 as up the order we go. Fakiri now on the rear of Lix as he's going to look to make a move. Ty putting pressure on Alex, and Alex might have to cede the place potentially on these older hards, but Ty keeping it calm in behind. Alex is definitely going to look to manage these hards to the end as TJ through on Thori. But what a race it's been so far for the drivers left in this race. As long as they finish, they will score points for their teams. And as things stand, Ferrari are in Dreamland with a 1-2. As, big crunch of the wall. Not even quite sure who did crunch the wall there, but I heard it. As, 3-second time penalty. Not sure who for. Race control just says there is a 3-second time penalty for someone. As, Ty still following the Williams of Alex, and Alex doing well to hold on to these tyres. But as we get to the last couple of laps, he's going to start to really struggle, and that might be when Ty finds his way through. Meanwhile, Lix going to start putting pressure on the Haas driver as well. Fakiri wants to join this battle.
Cookie already as well, his gap at the front seems to have halted a little bit. It's like Rio sort of starting to gain that time back, so I'm wondering if them softs are already cut.
And Ty and Alex into the final chicane And Alex holds on to the position. And with that compromised run, that may aid Lex. Lex going to look for the move. Down into turn 1. Lex on the inside of Ty clear, and Lex makes the move. He licks the stamp and sends it. And Lex through into P4 as Ty tries to recover back on the rear of the Red Bull. But the Red Bull does enough to defend that position. And Lex back up into P4 as Thori on the rear of Dub.
Great battle with these guys here. P4, 5 and 6.
As Ty looks to get back through on Lex if he can. Fakiri going to join this battle. Cookie, now the gap is at 5 seconds to Rio Harris. As Rio's now gapped Alex, and that's exactly what he needed to do. And Rio now, all he needs to do is keep managing the same pace that he's doing. And Cookie has got to worry about puncture territory, surely, because he's not pulled a big enough gap to necessarily box again as Lex through on Alex into P3. And Lex's recovery drive has been brilliant as Fakiri picks up his first time penalty of the day. As in the background, I think we've got TJ ahead of, or maybe Thori ahead of Dub. But Lex has had a brilliant recovery drive, but the time penalties maybe is undoing. Alex with 6-lap older hards gonna struggle to stay with his pack as time progresses. Meanwhile, Cookie surely is going to be thinking about managing the tyres. And to do around 14-15 laps on the softs, that's going to be tough going for the Ferrari driver. As Lord McJigglebone bends it. And it's a full safety car again. Cookie has he's surely got to go in for another set of softs here.
Yeah,
and surely, if I think everyone needs to go in for softs. I don't imagine anyone's going to stay out, but you never know. I think Rio might try and stay out, but we'll have to wait and see. I think Cookie has to come in, surely.
Yeah, because you're looking at 29 or 30, aren't you, for the safety car to be in. So 5 laps, that'll leave him on the soft. It's definitely got to be softs for anybody that does stop now.
Yeah, seems everyone coming in, not seeing anyone stay out as of yet. Ollie's actually going to be the one to stay out on the mediums, along with TJ. They stay out, so we'll keep an eye on where they end up. Ollie might lead the race here, and he does, along with TJ on the hard tyres. But how will they do against the soft runners as Cookie flies out of the pit lane? Does Ollie keep the place? Yes, Ollie does, and Ollie will get us restarted. And Gordon is going to stay out, but where's Gordon going to end up as the drivers filter out? As Rio side by side with Gordon, and Rio gets out just ahead of him. And Rio, with the double stacking of the Ferraris, he's actually dropped down now to P6. So this safety car has probably hurt Rio Harris the most here, as he was ahead of Lex and Alex and now behind both.
Yeah, it's really shuffled that top 10 around, isn't it? Like,
I think what we'll do
is...
He's
dropped down to P8.
I think it's definitely saved Cookie's race. If he was worried about making the softs to the end, these softs will definitely make it to the end. All he needs to do is avoid Ollie on the restart, get by him, and I think Ollie and TJ on these worn tyres, they're going to make a natural buffer to the cars behind, which should allow Cookie to immediately gap the likes of Lex down. So it should give Cookie a comfortable road to victory towards the end here. Meanwhile, Lex, Alex, Rio Harris are going to be battling the way through, surely. There's a lot of soft runners out there who are going to be battling ferociously. The likes of Gordon, TJ and Ollie haven't boxed. And I'm sure they might be a sitting duck under the safety car as Ansu picks up a 3-second time penalty. So many drivers this track have picked up penalties under the safety car. It's been so surprising.
Yeah, especially when you're driving more careful at that point. You don't expect it.
But we're on lap 29 of 35. And this has been a chaotic race so far. Still a lot to happen. This safety car restart, I'm sure, is going to be definitely one to watch. As the safety car may come in this lap, we'll see how Codzilla does when getting caught up. As Codzilla will have the freshest tyres out there. And we did see it called in a lot earlier when Ansu was a lot further away, so it might get called in here at the hairpin. As Cod, I think, is close enough to get caught up, but it might do another lap, and I think it is doing another lap. And, but you never know, there might be a late call in, so yeah, there is a late call in.
Yeah, there it is.
So, Cookie gonna try and be punchy as possible as Ollie. Gonna try and get us restarted here, and we'll follow Cookie, who's gonna look to take the championship lead here. If he can get a good restart and avoid any drama, and we'll keep an eye on behind, as there's a lot of soft runners in behind these worn tyres. As Ollie, I think, is going to push it to the line. He's gone now, gone very late, and that may add a lot of drama into turn one as Alex. Oh, and Lex absolutely dives it on TJ, and Lex round the outside, going to try and find the grip as Alex on the inside of TJ, as we've gone 3 wide on the exit of turn 2, and TJ off into the wall as Alex gets through. Cookie through and Ollie, Alex through, Rio through, TJ dropping down, Gordon struggling in the midfield. There's cars absolutely everywhere in the mid-pack as Gordon is being absolutely gapped here by everyone. Swallowed up as Lex into P2 now gets ahead of Ollie as we head into the chicane. A little bit of contact as Alex now round the outside of Ollie. And can Alex get through? Looks like he is, as there's more moves in the midfield as Rio looks down the inside of the Williams and has to back out there. Alex through on Ollie, and it's another VSC.
Oh,
Nuki's missing a front wing.
They didn't see what a car stopped or spin, so it had to be for a bit of debris or something.
Yeah, Nuki's missing an entire front wing, so not quite sure what happened to the Mercedes driver. But Cookie now a 3-second gap. He now needs to make sure he doesn't get a drive through, otherwise that could be race ending at this point of the race. But we'll have to wait and see. Meanwhile, Rio, who essentially had at least P2 nailed on, is now in P5. Got to work his way past Ollie to try and catch Alex and Lex here to get back onto the podium. But we'll see how we go under this VSC restart as Nuki into the box, the only driver into the box there in that VSC. So Nuki had no front wing, although unfortunately for Nuki it seems like his race is done and dusted, and Alex is going to drive through from Alex from P3 as Ollie down the inside, and Alex just turns across him there as Rio going to like to get back ahead now, and Rio looks to potentially have P2 back on the cards as he looks down the inside of Ollie, very late on the brakes, and Rio down the inside he goes, and now Rio looks to be back into P2 as Ty side by side. He goes with TJ, and can TJ or can Ty Clear somehow reclaim the podium here as Alex through on Lex. Alex into the box as Ty Clear picks up a 3-second time penalty along with TJ, and on the inside, who's that? It's Fakiri as the Audi's almost 3 wide here. Thori looking at this battle as Ty, little bit of contact with the Audis, and Thori almost going for a bit of a gap there as Gordon going to try and shape for a move here on the Cadillac. Dub watching this place as well, as we've got only 4 laps remaining, and what a chaotic restart it's been. Rio back up into P3 and has essentially P2 in the books with Lex's penalty. Meanwhile, Alex's late drive through has cost him massively and cost Williams a podium and massive points in this race as Fakiri on the rear of TJ. TJ goes deep though, that's allowed his teammate through on the inside. In the background we've heard a bit of a crunch as there's a 3-wide moment in behind. Codzilla, Ansu and Dub Z as Dub leads this train Mallard trying to get involved. Fakiri gets through on TJ. As Ansu through on Caldzilla. But Ansu picks up a 3-second time penalty as Mallard going to try and get through on Caldzilla here. Down the order, and Mallard burns the battery and gets through. As up ahead, we've got Ansu and Dub Z side by side. And Dub still wheel banging with Ansu here. As up the order we go, Fakiri on the rear of Ollie. Ollie on the old mediums. And he's still holding on to a decent position here, but for how much longer? Meanwhile, up ahead, Rio Harris right on the rear of Lex and putting some pressure on the Red Bull driver, and may look for a move down into turn 8 and 9 as Lex goes to squeeze him to the inside as Fakiri gets through on Ollie. And into P4 goes the Audi driver as he looks to try and claim a podium place. As Rio on the outside of the hairpin. As Lex squeezes him to the outside. And Rio going to try and maximise his exit if possible to get ahead of the Red Bull. Meanwhile, Cookie's absolutely clear down the road. 5 seconds is the gap as Ansu at the hairpin loses 2 places. Mallard and Dub ahead. Meanwhile, Thori right on the rear of Ty. Up ahead, TJ and Ollie. And TJ getting through as Thori through on Ty Clear, who's unfortunately dropping down. As Rio, bit of contact with Lex here as Lex defending like a madman. Alex with 3-second time penalty, which is hurting his race. As Ansu getting back through on Caldzilla. As Rio down the inside of Lex now. As Lex turns in on the Ferrari driver. Leaves the track there. Does the Red Bull. As Rio back through. As again, Lex has put him in the wall. Oh, that's just fucking terrible driving. Absolutely terrible driving there from Lex. And I can't even hide it now. Lex has been he just turned in on him.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible driving from the Red Bull. And Fakiri now potentially looking at a podium as Rio back on the rear of Lex, trying to put pressure on the Red Bull. Although Rio's got some damage now, and if I were Rio, I would just keep it clean for the remainder of the race, because you don't want to have contact with Lex that takes you out of it and potentially cost yourself P2 in this one. All you need to do is hold on to that position and he'll have P2 regardless. And I'm sure Lex is going to have a bucket load of penalties after this one. As Rio picks up a 3-second time penalty. As Fakiri right on the rear. And now that's allowed Rio. He might lose some places here. A 3-second time penalty as we start the final lap of the race. And now Rio's going to desperately hold on. And he might lose the podium potentially. As things stand, Lex has got P2, but he's definitely getting that removed. Let's just call a spade a spade. Lex is definitely getting some penalties this race. And a 3-second time penalty again for Nuki as Rio going to try and stick with P2 now, but as we are on the final lap, Cookie's cleared off down the road, done exactly what he needs to do, and Rio on his Ferrari debut, as things stand, I would say is a net P2, because as Lex is definitely getting at least one pen we've seen, if not more, as Alex up into P11 gets ahead of Dub Z. We're going to head on board the man of the hour, and I'll keep an eye actually on Rio Harris, who's charging on Lex, but Cookie coming up to the line, and Cookie is going to win in Canada as Rio on the rear of Lex, but going to go cautious into the final chicane and doesn't go for any silly moves as Mallard losing out here as Alex through on Mallard. Mallard picks up a 3-second time penalty as massive jumping around because of the penalties. Thori up into P5, Ollie P6, Alex P7, Ty P8, Caldzilla P9, Gordon P10, TJ P11, Dub Z P12, Mallard P13, Ansu P14, and Nuki will be P15. But massive ending the race. Cookie wins ahead of Lex, ahead of Rio. Then it's Fakiri, Thori, and Ollie. But a lot of penalties there at the end. And we did say if you keep your nose clean, you'll gain some positions. But we'll have to see what happened with the drivers. We'll head over to the driver interviews channel.
Very strong race from Cookie though. He had the drive through and all that go against him, and he still managed to get out there and pull a gap. Very strong race from Cookie.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cookie wins again here. Missed last week, But with his big rivals of TJ and Nis missing today, Cookie will certainly reclaim top spot in the championship. But as we look at, and look at that, a Ferrari clean sweep for Rio House Driver of the Day, gets from second last to finishing second, because we kind of know what's going to happen, as Cookie also gets pole and the fastest lap, so maximum points for the Ferrari driver, as we'll try and get all the results, and not only that, but we'll try and get all of the race director as well. But we'll head over to the driver interviews channel. So Lanky, follow me over there.
Yep.
If my mouse will turn on. But welcome in. I mean, Thori's the first to join, so we'll start with Thori. Thori, how'd your race go?
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A very chaotic race, but a P5 was in the end, so I'm pretty happy. And
Yeah.
then I think the Red Bull is gonna get some pens, so P4, I take it.
Yeah, that's probably your best result in WHF, so that is some result. And this is why you turn up for races, because there's a lot of people missing today, and Thori's capitalising on what a result there for Thori. P5 or P4, depending on how the penalties play out. But we'll move on to the man of the hour, Cookie, who wins in dominant fashion here. And Cookie, how'd that race go for you?
It was fun. A little bit of a stressful one, but after the drive-through, I feel like I still would have had the pace to go back, and then it wasn't that fun of a race though, with so many fucking safety cars. But it was good. Yeah, I got in a rhythm around like 10 laps into the race, and after I got that drive-through, just trying to minimize the damage. But it was fun.
Yeah, a very strong race. At any point were you sweating? Because there was that whenever we did have that second last safety car, and you were on the softs to the end. Were you worried about the tire wear?
No. I am actually surprised how quick they were at the start. I think I had warm tires, and I don't think Ria did. But no, I was just gonna coast. I mean, I was on, I think, like 30 or 40% when the safety car came out. I probably would have made it to the end with like 70. I was just gonna chill a little bit. But the last one helped me. I would have been interested to see when and if I could have caught Rio if that second safety car didn't come out midway through. But it was a fun one. I was a little bit stressed when I got clipped under, like, on that lap when I had to serve the drive-through. I got clipped and fell down like 8 places.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, well, congrats on the win, as you're back to the top step of the podium, and with the likes of Trixie and Nis missing this round, it's certainly helped your championship title bid, as well. Next week we head to Baku. Is that one of your preferred tracks?
No, just because it's like, like I feel like, you could be minding your own business and then molest your car on a wall there. I prefer more predictable tracks, like Silverstone, like Hungary, like Austria, Aero. I don't like these RNG tracks. It's like the same thing with like Jeddah. I feel like you can be really quick there, you can be really consistent there, and then you make one wrong turn and you're just dead. So, but I'm quick there. I just don't like the track.
But thank you, Cookie, nonetheless, and we'll move on to...
Love you. Bye.
Love you, Cookie. And we'll move on to RK, aka... how have I already forgot his name? What's his...
Wow, that's just disrespectful.
I'm trying to remember your gamer tag. Jesus Christ, I have the memory. What was it again, sorry? Lex? Lex. I have the memory of a goldfish. My apologies.
It's fine.
But Lex, we did see you have a great recovery drive there. A couple of mistakes throughout the pack, but still you consistently fought your way back through again. And Lex, how'd that race go for you?
It was a near-death experience multiple times, but I picked up rear wing damage when I spun, so or diffuse or whatever the fuck it was. Yeah, no, someone hit me when I spun, so I got the 10-second and real wing damage. So
Yeah, and how difficult was that to
every corner.
cope with throughout the race?
Very difficult. I had to lower the wings a lot, so I wasn't very fast through the corners anymore at the end. Combining with pitting out the 15% softs wasn't a very fun experience. But yeah, I got a bit lucky. Rio got a 3-sec at the end. Keep the P2.
Well, congrats on your debut podium, a brilliant drive, and hopefully you'll return for next week as we head to Baku. Is that one of your favourite tracks if you're returning?
Oh, no. Horrible. No one likes it. Well, you know, it is a good track for racing, though. I hope with these cars, at least.
I feel like there's only one person I know that likes Baku. I feel like it is RNG for many drivers, but it should provide fun racing. So we'll have to wait and see next time out. But congrats on the podium, Lex.
Thank you, Arrow.
And we'll move on to Rio Harris, who, again, first race this season, and I gotta be real, I was frustrated with you in qualifying. I was thinking, what's he doing? He's down in P17, but fights his way back up again into P3 in the end. How'd that race go for you, Rio?
I mean, the qualifying was meh. I might have invalidated every time and then lost force feedback every time in the final sector. Cheers, Moda. But no, I mean, it was a strategic call, right? Hurt starting last. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. I came through the field. I was leading at one point. I kind of didn't want that safety car because, I mean, like Cookie said, it would have been fun to see what would have happened in terms of the strategy. I was gonna go to the end, so it was nice to see what happened. But then, I mean, it will be P2, I'm sure. I mean, from the Red Bull's a bit obvious. Ego gets a tad hurt after he tries to turn into me in turn 3, but I mean, I'm happy with it. What was it, 17th to 3rd? It's still a podium nonetheless, and I mean, for what it'll be after Pens, I'm sure Ferrari want to. So not a bad way to start off.
Well, that's a perfect start for Ferrari, and congrats on the podium, Rio. As we'll move on to TJ. TJ, how'd your race go? I'm sorry, at the end there was positions flying, so I don't even know where you finished. Where did you end up, TJ?
I finished 11th after Pens.
Ah.
Yeah, I got 2-3 seconds without warnings instantly at the final chicane, which was annoying. But to be honest, it was Canada. I kind of didn't expect to be anywhere. Qualifying was a surprise. I didn't expect to be up there. But the race, yeah, no, I don't like this track at all, to be honest. Yeah, just wasn't the best.
Well, unlucky TJ, but if it's immediate 3 seconds, then they can get removed by the stewards. It kind of depends.
Oh yeah, I have them clipped. Oh okay,
Yeah.
okay. I think I've got one of them clipped. I'll have to clip the whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't think I have both, but I think I have one.
It just kind of depends on what the thing is. The race director is on the stream if you do need it as well. So.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. I wouldn't just, obviously, yeah.
Hopefully you can get some of them removed, but nonetheless.
Even if I get one removed, it should be a couple positions up. So
yeah,
pretty decent.
Yeah, but nonetheless, still a decent race. And Lanky, do you have any more thoughts before we end the stream?
No, just would say it was a lot more interesting than I expected it to be, especially around the midfield. The battles were non-stop all throughout the race, so I quite enjoyed that one. Being my first time doing comms in here as well, it was a good one.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And if you want to see more cinema like that next time out, make sure to leave a follow, and we'll find some of the raid on our way out. But this has been WHF round 3 in Canada before we head to round 4 in Baku next weekend, as we'll find some of the raid on our way out. But a very strong race there from Cookie. But next time out, we'll have to wait and see, do Nis and Trixie return? And if so, will they be able to challenge? But are they both busy?
Just bad.
Anyway, we'll raid Shadow League, who are currently doing a league race around Austria, and they've just got a lap 1 safety car, so perfect time to head over there and start watching that one. But anyway, thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed, I've been WHFRO, joined by the Lanky one, and we will see you all next week as we head to Baku. But thank you all for watching, and goodbye.